All right, so this is section 5.6. We're talking about margin of error, confidence intervals, confidence levels. When we talk about data and statistics, okay, there's always some margin of error. That means that the value that's given that's our best guess, but there's always a small chance that we could be off on our guess. So it's important for us to understand what these things mean, and we're going to talk about that today. So if you read through example 1 with me here, this is in your textbook. You can follow along. It says a telephone survey of 600 randomly selected people was conducted in an urban area, a city area. The survey determined that 76% of people from 18 to 34 years of age have a social networking account. The results are accurate within plus or minus 4 percent points 19 times out of 20. So you probably don't read a whole lot of statistics, but if you were to see this on the news or online on some kind of statement, you should know what this means, and that's what we're studying today. So 76% is the number of people that they're stating has a social networking account. And they also are saying that the results are accurate within plus or minus 4%. Okay? So that's part of where the error comes in. There's a chance it could be a little bit higher, up to 4% higher, and there's a chance it could be up to 4% lower too. So this is how this works. And then one more added little level of confidence, 19 times out of 20. So this is the value. It could be within a range, so it could be up or down from this value. And we're pretty sure that the real value is within this stated range 95% of the time, or 19 times out of 20. So I know there's a few levels there, but let's break it down one at a time. So the margin of error. So the possible difference between the estimate, so in this case the 76% right here on the screen, and the value that you're trying to determine, as determined from a random sample, and the true value for the population. So they're just basically saying that the margin of error will be sort of this part right here. Okay, that's the margin of error. It could be 4% higher or 4% lower. An example would be plus or minus 5. In this example 1, it's plus or minus 4%. So this is the margin of error. The confidence interval. The interval in which the true value you're trying to determine is estimated to lie. So the true value, if they say 76, because of this margin of error of plus or minus 4, the true value they are pretty confident is within this range between 72 and 80. So that is 76 minus 4% and 76 plus 4%.
All right, we're going to have our third student pray right now.
So that's the confidence interval between 72 and 80 in this example. The confidence level is the third part here that we want to talk about. This is the likelihood that the result for the true value, in this case they're talking about population in this question, but the true value lies within the range of the confidence interval. So they, like I said before, this is the stated value, this is the margin of error, this is the interval, the whole thing is the interval, and this last little bit says that they are 95% sure that the actual value is right around 76, between 72 and 80. Okay, so there's an added little buffer there. It's a little cushion that they say, you know what, we're pretty certain about this value, but there is error involved in our calculations or our collection of data, and even in this range, we're 95% sure that the actual value is in there. There is a 5% chance that we could be totally off. So it's just an added kind of cushion there. All right, so 95%, 19 times out of 20 chance that the actual value is within that range. So this is a summary of what everything is that we've talked about today, so I will just camp on this screen for a few minutes. So the confidence interval is this whole thing right here. It's the stated value, and then plus or minus the margin of error here. And that whole thing, that whole thing is the confidence interval. So stated value plus or minus the margin of error. That's the confidence interval. And the confidence level would be, for example, 19 times out of 20. And this is the most common confidence level that you see. It's kind of always 95% for whatever reason. Again, if they were less certain than this, then they wouldn't have this number. They would change this number. So in order to fall in the 95% confident, they have to have this number correct. Okay? If they made this number smaller, then they might have to bump this number down. If this was plus or minus 2%, saying, hey, this confidence interval is smaller, we're a little bit more, this is where it is, well, they might have to bump that down to 18 times out of 20. So they kind of balance that. But anyways, the first question in your assignment is number 1, so I'd like to do that one with you right now. Let's do this together so we can, we can roll through some, well, this is really big, hang on. I'm going to squish this down just a little bit. All right, so number 1 says here, a poll determined that 81% of people who live in Canada know that the climate change is affecting the Inuit more than the rest of Canadians. The results of the survey are considered accurate within plus or minus 3.1% points, 19 times out of 20. So here's our stated value. Here's our margin of error. And here's our confidence level. Okay? So the confidence level is 19 times out of 20. Or I will let you say the percent there. So or 95%. Okay? And I am expecting an important call sometime today, so if I have to pause and step out, just letting you know. Something might ring. All right, so either one of those, and usually the percent's fine. If they say 19 times out of 20, you could just rewrite that too. Okay? Determine the confidence interval. So the confidence interval would be this stated value plus or minus the margin of error. And you could just write that as 81% plus or minus 3.1%, which equals, now, a good idea to state the actual values for the confidence interval as well. So what's 81% minus 3.1%?
77.9%.
77.9%, good. To 81, that's 84.1, right? Oops, 84.1%. Awesome. Okay, so good idea to write the actual percents. And then C becomes pretty easy. Let's read number C, letter C. The population of Canada was 33.5 million at the time of the survey. State the range of the number of people who knew that climate change is affecting Inuit more than the rest of Canadians. So we're basically finding out what value of our population is 77.9% and what value is 84.1%. So 33.5, that'd be in millions, times the decimal form of the percent, 0.779. What does that equal? You have your calculators out. You can punch that in. What do we get for a number there? It's probably going to be a pretty long number. My calculator's taking some time to wake up here. 26.0965. Sorry, can you say that one more time? 0965. Okay, so that's million. Now, we should write out the entire number instead of just saying million. So let's go 26 and then 0.96500, I guess, right? 26 million using those decimals. So it might be easier, instead of doing the decimal of million, it might be easier to write out the actual number, which I will do this time. So you can, there's 33.5 million. So for the upper percent, let's do the same thing, 0.841. And what do we get there?
28.1735.
That, 20 million. So 26,096,500 to 28,173,500. people. Okay, everybody agrees with those numbers that were said? Double check there. Okay. So somewhere in there, they're 95% sure that the actual number of people who truly believe this, according to their survey, is within that range. So that's why they kind of state the middle number. It makes sense, right? If they have like, it could be from here to here, so they just state the middle number as their best guess. That makes sense. So if you were like, I don't know, 3, maybe 4, maybe 5 of my friends are going to come over for my birthday party, you would say about 4 maybe, right? 3 to 5, you'd say right in the middle. I'm guessing about 4 people are going to come. Or in your case, because you guys are insanely popular, it would be somewhere between 30 and 50 of my friends. And so then you say around 40.
My plan is 0.
Your plan is 0? Oh. You don't have any friends? Or you don't want anybody to come over and eat your food?
Everyone's my friend.
It's both and optional.
It's both and optional?
It's both.
Both options? Okay. You said it, not me. All right. Any other questions about this lesson or the example? And here's the summary here. I'm going to show you right here. So this is just the same graphic we had before. A summary for 5 points. That's really big there. Because it has to do with statistics. It's all statistics. Yeah. All right, here's your assignment, 5.61369. You're welcome. I did your first question with you already for you. You guys are so spoiled. Here, I'll put it up here. Okay, so write this assignment down and get started, please.